Act 3, Scene 2 is the scene in which the only other female character really, as long as you don't include the witches, appears, Lady Macduff, which kind of gives us a different perspective on women to Lady Macbeth, I suppose. But the real point behind this is the situation that she's been left in by her husband. And it starts with having this discussion with Ross, who once again we see appearing as a messenger, but also what we see is that this time his loyalties have switched. Whereas he has stayed loyal to Macbeth right the way through, having been loyal to Duncan before, he is now apparently moved across since the Banquo's ghost incident. Lady Macduff has no time for what Macduff has done, which I think is fair enough, to be honest, as she rightly points out. Look at the way he's left us. He means this. He wants the natural touch because birds, for example, will fight. Even the poor wren will fight against the owl. All of that kind of an idea here. Ross tries to defend him very much, and talks about how difficult the times are. Okay, how cruel the times are as they go through, and leaves her. But Lady Macduff is not really comforted as he says goodbye to their son, not Ross and Lady Macduff's son, of course, but the Macduff's son. She just comments, "Fathered he is, and yet he's fatherless." Okay, creating that idea of that contradiction that we see so often in Shakespeare and in Macbeth, of being two things that are paradoxical at the same time, because he has a father, but of course his father's not there. Anyway, Ross needs to go and leaves Lady Macduff then talking to her son. And her son shows a bit of character to him. I think the reality here is, why are we introduced to the son? Purely because he is going to die, and therefore we have to have some kind of feeling for him. Okay, and the fact that he's shows a little bit of wit and intelligence is effective here. Now it focuses on this idea of a traitor, and this may be one of the most interesting ideas here. Was my father a traitor? Lady Macduff surprisingly says he was. Why? What's a traitor? One that swears and lies. And that's why she's calling her husband a traitor. Okay? Now what she means here is not somebody who swears in the way we think of it. Swears something is true and then lies about it. Okay? So she's very much seeing a traitor as somebody who goes against truth. Okay? Oh, traitors that do so, everyone does so as a traitor and needs to be hanged, she says. The son works out then that the liars and swearers are fools, for there are liars and swearers enough to beat the honest men and hang them up. Okay? A little comic moment along the time there. But, again, that point here about being a traitor leads us to the dark part. In comes a messenger who gives a brief message here that she's in a great deal of danger. That usually is cut out, that bit of most performances, before the murderers approach. Whether they're the same murderers before is very much down to how people actually present the play on stage. But we're back to this idea of him being a traitor, because he's acting against Scotland. Of course, he's not. As we see in the next scene, he's acting for Scotland. The son attacks the murderer for it. The first murderer just calls him an egg, a pointless little, offspring of something, and stabs him. Now, what we need here really is to notice that this is a moment of real horror. Okay? It's only the second murder we see on stage. Okay, and it's the second death, in fact, we see on stage after Banquo, because of course we didn't see Duncan's murder. And why? Well, the horror of killing his friend, but here it is the horror of killing a child. And this, I think, is meant to show to us the awfulness of the situation Macbeth has got to here. We've heard him say he's going to do it, but to actually do that works. He doesn't show us Lady Macduff being killed, maybe because he wants to leave it to our imagination. But you see the horror of what's going on.